So we heard the DG of NAFDAC say that GMOs are safe but must be properly labeled, and sufficient research must have been done to ascertain that the GMOs are actually safe. I see many media houses running with the headline of GMOs are safe, and they are not adding the most important part of what she said. She said they are safe but must be properly labeled to give consumers a choice. That is actually the most important part of that interview. If you see a regulation that says you can build your house anywhere, but you must own the title deed and you must have an approved building plan of the portion of land where you're going to build that house, the conditions actually guide your actions. So if the DG says GMOs are safe but must be properly labeled, that means if the GMOs that we have in Nigeria are not properly labeled at consumption level, it means that it was wrongly approved. Then she also said that it must have sufficient research to show that they are safe. If there is no single research to show that GMOs are safe for consumption, it was just approved. It's just been said it's safe, largely safe, by organizations like the World Health Organization and so on and so forth. It doesn't mean that GMOs are safe for consumption. It doesn't mean that the right amount of risk assessment has been done, because currently there is no long-term risk assessment to ascertain that any GMO crop is good for consumption. So if the NAFDAC's DG said that it is safe but must be labeled, the question is this: if the woman by the road cannot label her beans before she sells it to the one who wants to buy, or you want to buy your roasted corn and you don't have the choice of choosing between GMO roasted corn and organic roasted corn, that means what we have in Nigeria is what you call biotechnocracy. In other words, a dispensation where organizations like NBMA are forcing us to eat what we don't want to eat. So it's a system of government where technology rules the order of the day. And in this case, biotech have become the ones to make the decision. The biotech companies and the regulators have made up their mind that Nigerians will eat anything that they give us to eat. So they have taken away our right to choose what we want to eat. That is what the biotech companies have done. And do they have the right to do that? No. Professor Mojisola actually talked about she said health concerns. The health concerns are, yes, they're quite important. If somebody tells you that if you eat this thing, you're going to become sterilized, whether there is evidence-based research to prove it or not, how many decisions do you take every day that is governed by an evidence-based research? How many decisions? What is the evidence-based research that the soap you used to bath this morning is not going to harm you? Scientists came out to say, and these researches are being suppressed. So the fact that there is even a consideration that it is possible that GMOs and its evil twin called glyphosate can lead to spontaneous abortion, can lead to infertility, can lead to cancer, and a lot of other health issues, allergies, autoimmune diseases, hormonal disorder. The fact that there are even suggestions by researchers, also scientific researchers, the fact that they can even talk about it. What we are supposed to be doing in NAFDAC and in NBMA is to carry out our own indigenous research to prove those sciences wrong before we can adopt it. That is what actually the precautionary principle in the Cartagena Protocol talks about. And Nigeria is a signatory to that particular protocol. The fact that there are concerns, we should pause. And many countries, for the same concerns, Mexico, Russia, France, Germany, many countries for the same concerns, Ecuador, even South Africa, just rolled back their approval for MON 87460, which is Monsanto's GMO seed that was approved in South Africa. And we also have it in Nigeria. They rolled back that approval last year, Q4. So the fact that there are even these concerns is enough for us to, become very cautious. And if Nigeria is going bullish with the concerns on GMOs, that means we should have superior science to Germany. That means we should have superior science to Russia. We should have superior science to all the other countries that have banned GMOs and glyphosate. So are we saying that NBMA and NAFDAC can beat their hand on their chest and tell us that the research laboratories that they have and the research they've conducted are superior to what the others who have banned it have conducted? If they have something better than what they have conducted, then they should make it public and let us review them. In the absence of any research, in the absence of any paper to show that these things are safe, or any research to prove all the scientists that have concerns with these things, in the absence of all of that, then I think that we are taking the wrong decision to approve GMOs in Nigeria. Furthermore, there are several other concerns with GMOs. One of them is 3 years ago, the US-China Economic Review Commission released a paper that China has illicitly acquired US agricultural intellectual property, which includes genetically modified seeds, and fear the potential weaponization of this technology. These are two world powers talking about the fact that GMOs are actually bioweapons. We also have the case of the cotton farmers in Nigeria. The cotton farmers complained of the rising cost of seeds, reduced fertility of their soil, false promises, and bounty harvest. And all these were untenable with the realities of BT cotton that they faced on the field. And they stated that planting GMOs have made their farms unsuitable for planting natural seed. These are farmers in Nigeria complaining. This report was published in Business Day, 23rd of September last year. The question is, what has NAFDAC and NBMA done in response to this complaint by our indigenous farmers on the impact of GMOs on their soil and also on their livelihood, which is not far from what happened in India, Brazil, Burkina Faso, and other countries that adopted GMO cotton. In India, over 300,000 farmers committed suicide when they lost their earnings and they lost their farms to GMO seeds, failed seeds. These are seeds that even the seed company Monsanto admitted was a failure, but we adopted it in Nigeria. Our farmers are complaining, yet our DG of NAFDAC is coming to tell us that it's safe, and also the DG of NBMA is coming to tell us that it is safe, and we should believe and trust the science and trust them on what basis. This was how many people believed the COVID vaccines, and today they're a wreck for it. In Tanzania also, the newly appointed agricultural minister, Professor Adolf Mkenda, in mid-January 2021, announced the cancellation of research trials involving GMOs in the country, and the decision to put in place extra biosafety scrutiny of imported GM seeds. This decision was taken by the minister to conserve the country's genetic resources and local seeds. So that means we are not very interested in our own genetic resources and local seeds in Nigeria. And evidence from NAGRAB, if you go to NAGRAB, who are supposed to be the custodians of our genetic resources and seeds, you'll be shocked. Go to their website, you'll be shocked. The only thing working there are the projects that are being funded by foreign donor companies. And of course, Professor Seralini's research on cancer still stands. It was republished and nobody has taken it down. It's still there. Also, you could look at Monsanto paying $10.9 billion to over 100,000 cancer victims of Roundup in America. That statement, or rather, this, you could look it up yourself. This news was reported by almost all reputable media houses in the world. What are we doing about that? Is the NBMA or NAFDAC even carrying out a post approval research to find out if these things happening in US are also happening in Nigeria? And GMOs lead to the increased use of herbicide. Data from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and Health and Canada's Ministry of Agriculture shows that the herbicide sales in Canada increased by 244% between 1994 and 2021. That is the impact of GMO crops on pesticide use in the first 16 years. GMO plants also kill non-target organisms, destroying the biodiversity. Bt toxin proteins in GM plants have been shown to impact insects that are not the intended target. For example, spiders, wasps, ladybugs, and lacewings, which are predators that eat the Bt targeted insects, were negatively affected by ingesting prey that had consumed GM Bt toxins. Additionally, a study published in 2023 funded by the French government found that Bt-Cry1A toxin protein disrupts the normal growth and functioning of gut cells in fruit flies. And these and many more. I can go on and on and on and on the dangers of GMOs, especially the fact that they are actually patented technology that belongs to foreign biotech firms that are not indigenous to Nigeria. And the cotton farmers are already facing it. And now we want the whole country to face it. What if the price of the seeds go up? What happens to our farmers? In fact, in India, they had to pass a regulation that smallholder farmers were exempted from GM cropping because it was highly unbeneficial to smallholder farmers. And in Nigeria, most of our food is supplied by our smallholder farmers. So where do we go from here? Are all these other concerns with GMOs invalid? We want the DG of NAFDAC and the DG of NBMA to come out and address these other concerns with GMOs. Or maybe they are the wrong people to address it. Maybe the National Security Advisor and the Ministry of Defense should get involved because the country's sovereignty is actually at risk.